reinvented every day that I'm with you. You never mentioned that you'd want me to stay, but change your mind as I made my own way. Yeah, do what you like. I'd like to offer a toast for our charming hosts, for our charming hosts. Oh, I'd like to offer a toast, oh, for our charming hosts, oh, for our charming hosts. You've been with me through the thick and the thin days, bear it with a grin day. I wanted to end days. You've been by my side, my charming companion, and now I see you leaving for some man, oh, just a man. I respect and then I wish you the best, but why do you look so good in that dress? Have time of your life, do what you like, ooh baby, love you. Have time of your life, do what you like, ooh baby, love you. You're my friend till the end, I won't go anywhere. You're my friend till the end, I won't go anywhere. I need you to be straight with me, to keep faith in me. Can you relate to me? You can have one, not both, like cheese on toast, or control of the remote. The difference between the things that you say and the way you feel, that shit drives me insane. The expectations for the things that you do gets reinvented every day that I'm with you. You never mentioned that you'd want me to stay, but change your mind as I make my own way. Yeah, do what you like, do what you like. I do what you like. Till the end, I won't go anywhere. You're my friend. Till the end, I won't go anywhere. You're my friend. Till the end, I won't go anywhere. You're my friend. Till the end.
Hey, Ben.
How you doing, Purdy?
I was doing fine, and then I got nervous out of nowhere.
Same. I got butterflies right before it was time. I was like, why am I nervous? It's fine.
I've literally talked to Finn face to face before.
But for the people who don't know, where are you joining us live from?
I am broadcasting live from my house in Black Hawk County, Iowa. Yeah, Black Hawk County is Waterloo. Is Cedar Falls Black Hawk County?
Yeah.
What is?
No, it is Black Hawk County.
Oh, it is. Okay. Yeah, I'm in Waterloo. In my house, in my bedroom.
I am also in Waterloo in my apartment. So yeah, so we know each other.
I thought you lived in Cedar Falls.
Oh no, I've lived in Waterloo since I graduated from UNI.
It's a much better place.
I mean, it's cheaper.
For sure, yeah.
So yeah, so we know each other. We've hung out a couple of times. We met through Orion.
Yeah.
So how has quarantine been for you?
It's been okay, because there's a coronavirus that's going on, and then we just so happen to be in the middle of a civil rights movement. And I'm an activist, so I'm trying to protect myself and also be out there. It's hard because I'm wearing a mask and I'm protesting, but I'm also walking like this through the grocery store aisles, and I take care of I was thinking, since we're doing this today, I was thinking what could I talk about? And so it made me realize things that since I haven't been able to spend a lot of time with my friends, I realized that I haven't heard my name in a really long time, because I take care of my grandmother, and I see my grandmother and I see my mom and my brothers and my sisters, but they call me my birth name. And I live with my fiance, but he calls me baby usually, or he'll call me Birdie, but it just doesn't come up in normal relationship conversation. So I was thinking about it, and then I was like, oh, I haven't heard my name in a really long time.
Right. Oh, that's wild.
And I'm working on a gender thing, a play, one that's not this one, about being non-binary. I'm really happy to be doing it because it's a one-person show mostly. it's this other non-binary person's story, and I'm helping with the script. So like there's some of my stuff in there, and the name stuff has been really, really, really getting to me. And then today I was thinking about it and I was like, oh, it could be that I haven't heard my name in a really long time. And now I'm in a show going, please say my name.
Yeah.
So, how about you? How's it treating you?
I mean, it's been ebbs and flows. So the first month and a half, mwah, it was so great. I didn't have to talk to a person. I just had time to like be with myself and like decompress because like I hadn't really had time to do that. But then like even though I'm an introvert, I'm still a social being. And so as time progressed, I'm like, okay, I would like to see my friends. It's not the best idea to do right now, so I won't. And then there've been like little highs, but then like my mental health is pretty fragile because I feel like I mean I go to therapy. Like I do talk to people, but there's only so much right now that I have access to for mental health. One of my favorite things to do is to not particularly have a conversation with a person, but just like exist in a space with them.
Yes.
And like have the opportunity to talk to that person if we want to and do our own thing if we want to. Coexisting is like my favorite form of hanging out.
I love that. We gotta sit in a room together sometime.
Right. I live alone with my cat, which like works for me when I'm usually interacting with people all the time, but this is a different situation. And so I'm like, I would love to just talk to a person in person. I'd love to meet new people. I live right by Kings and Queens and like could walk there. I mean, I could walk there.
We live so close to each other and I didn't even know it.
Well, we'll find each other soon enough, I guess.
Hi, Willow.
Hello, how are you?
I'm so well. I don't think we've met before. Do you want to do your intro first?
Sure. No, actually, because I can't get over your dinosaur earrings.
Oh, okay. Well, I made them myself today, actually.
Is it a brontosaurus?
Yeah.
That's the best thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
If you want a pair, like let Orion know that you want my email, and I'll hook you up with a pair. Because I love making earrings. These aren't even my weirdest ones.
Great.
So, hi, I'm Albie. I use he, him, his pronouns. I identify as trans male, but I obviously don't really conform to gender with my style. I turned 21 March 10th, and I couldn't go to any bars.
Oh, tragic.
Right? Not like I really wanted to party with straight white frat dudes anyways. And I'm in Black Hawk County, Cedar Falls, Iowa.
Cool. Super nice to meet you. My name is Willow. I use they, them pronouns, and I'm non-binary. And I'm in Dade County, Madison, Wisconsin right now. In my little 2-bedroom apartment that I share with my husband and my 2 cats.
Oh my gosh, that sounds like a dream. I also have 2 cats. So
Nice.
I feel you there. Simon and Lazarus.
I have Alexander Hamilton and King Oliver.
Oh my gosh, that is so cute. I love it. So what's your daily life like right now?
Yeah, so I work at this really terrible temporary job. I was like following my dreams. I got my master's degree in educational leadership and policy analysis.
Wow.
And then I couldn't find a job in my field. So I put numbers in a spreadsheet boxes for sometimes 70 hours a week.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been having a really bad time. So I'm disabled and I have a compromised immune system.
Oh,
So I'm like horrifically isolated, and I have really bad anxiety and I have really bad OCD. So like what I can control is smaller and smaller and smaller
yeah.
to make me feel like a functioning human. So I've just been like obsessing about like our apartment and like steam cleaning everything and like,
Right.
yeah. But it's a really strange time to be disabled during, this literal pandemic, because so many people are like, everything is fine, or like hashtag wear a mask. And then the next day they're like posting Facebook photos where they're like at a birthday party with like 20 people. And it's like, they don't realize how they can't possibly comprehend the day to day of like having your body fail you.
Yeah.
But like me and so many of my disabled friends like have been there, or are so close to it, or are living in this semi-constant state of it where it's so real to us and to so many people, people who I love and people who love me. It's like they're just disconnected. So I've been in a really weird place because of that.
Mm-hmm. I think too, I mean, I don't know how I assume you've been very isolated based on my friends who have immunodeficiencies. Like they're very holed up. So how has that not like impacted your gender identity, but how has that impacted your affirmation? And how has that, or how has it not?
Yeah, it's, before this, I started this temp job, right? Which was originally working from home before COVID hit. But before that, for years, from community college and transferring and getting my master's, I've been in all these spaces filled with people, right? Like, and like, that's why I want to work at colleges, because I love the environment. So I'm used to being with all of these people and picking constant fights, whether that's like, this space deserves more disability access, or you need to call people by their proper pronouns. And just all of that has vanished. And now the company I work for doesn't give a shit about me, right? So it's like, hey, ladies. And I, like, as much as I hated fighting constantly, I didn't realize, like, now it's like I don't have an option to fight.
Yeah.
How has COVID been affecting your sort of your existence?
So I moved in with my ex. Well, that I didn't purposely move in with my ex. It was my partner in March. And essentially, when the university shut down, it was either stay with me or go home to not an affirming space. And I
Right.
said, you can stay with me and my roommate. I checked with my roommate and it was fine. And it was going really well because it seemed like we had this endless time to spend together and everything was great. Um, but things kind of started to fall apart at the end of May, and I attended a wedding, and I realized I really want to marry someone who is going to make a promise to God with me.
Right.
And like most of the people in the queer community, my partner was like, that's not me.
Right.
And so we ended things mid-June. I don't know. It all flows together because, and so I got a second job just so I could get out of the house more. So I work as a janitor and a youth pastor.
Wow, that's very like, isn't that kind of like Jesus-y of you?
Yeah, but maybe a little bit too much, But I also I had been taking 3 online classes just so I can stay busy and not focus on how scary things are and how not in control. And my ex, who lives with me, just changed their name because he kind of wants to switch it up and see if that works better for him. And I'm super supportive of that. But obviously, with our breakup, there's just so much tension. And like, I can just feel this very like negative pressure in the space. And so it's weird. But I still get read as a male whenever I go out, and my coworkers in my job are pretty supportive. So it doesn't really affect my gender, except that I don't get to express my fun feminine side a lot.
Yes.
Like, I love dress up. Today I was preaching because our pastor was gone, and they were like, hey, you can do this. And I was like, awesome. But I was like going to wear something fun and feminine. But then I was like, oh, I don't know. Like, the people who decide if I get to be a pastor or not might see this eventually. And I don't want them to think the things that the people in my past have thought about me. So I wore, you know, a vest and a shirt and some skinny jeans. I put on makeup though. Shoot, I think we're close to, I don't know when they sent the 5 minutes.
Yeah, I think we're at time.
Oh, well, Willow, my pal, if you would like some funky earrings, I would love to disinfect all of my packaging stuff and send you some fun dinos or some fun art palettes.
I would love that.
If you want to, you can get to Orion about it.
I will. I'm so glad I got to meet you.
I know. This was such a wonderful experience. If you ever need a friend, I'd love to have coffee.
Thank you. All right. Have a nice evening.
You as well. Goodbye.
I'm the first person to tell you that I'm an introvert and I love being alone. And like before everything happening, now I'm still working, but only half time, but I'm a receptionist. And so I'm constantly dealing with the general public. And as a result, being misgendered because no one gets they, them pronouns. They hear my low voice and are confused. They think I'm a dude, but then they see my chest and are confused. And so I present an issue to most people that I come into contact with. Oh, that's my cat, Penny, if you heard her. So I've had not only ebbs and flows of my mental health, but like a couple of people have talked about before, a lot of my dysphoria stems from social interactions. A lot of that having to do with my chest being perceived one way that I do not like. And I'm still going to work, so I'm with people, but I'm with people who understand my gender. So they're not going to address my chest because they know that that's like a big thing for me. But being alone so much has actually made me realize how much physical dysphoria that I personally have that's not socially that doesn't stem from social stuff. Well, it does actually, because I have an internalized way of how others perceive me, and so I then perceive myself as that. But like no one's here but me, but I can still see it. So I'm like, okay, well, that's fun. But also, well, I have a date for top surgery at the end of the year. Yeah, and that's like I've enjoyed having this time to process that because I'm not doing it with like the gusto that someone who wants top surgery probably should. I don't know. I don't want to say should, but at the same time, I don't dislike my chest when I'm naked. Really, it's the perceptions that other people put on me. And so, when I'm out in public, would I like to bind? Yes. But at the same time, it's too uncomfortable for me to do constantly. And so I'm constantly like, do I choose my mental health or my physical health?
I just came out in October, So this is part of the beginning of my transition. I barely know a transition before COVID-19, and I definitely don't know an actual medical transition because I used that downtime where I was kicked off of work to start HRT.
Cool.
But then I was called back into work, and that wasn't really going so well because I'm going crazy.
What sort of sphere do you work in?
What?
What sort of sphere do you work in?
Customer service.
Okay, yeah.
I worked in retail. I was a floating assistant manager at Goodwill. So I worked at like 6 different stores. And it's really interesting because a lot of people visit different stores too. And obviously, I am very memorable. So people would come up and go, hey, I remember you from the other store. Although it depends what wig I had on that day.
Yeah, I know my Goodwill managers.
Oh yeah, but you're in Minnesota, right?
Oh, I'm in Wisconsin.
Wisconsin, Madison, Wisconsin. I don't know why I was thinking Minnesota.
And you are in Iowa?
Yeah, Iowa, Waterloo, Iowa.
Can you, if Iowa is your hand, can you show me where on your hand you are?
Oh God, I don't know. So this is Iowa, and this is the top, and I think I'm like right here.
Okay.
In the
That's
Northeast
helpful.
area. It was very interesting learning about like transitioning and that basically you can be whatever you want. It took me the longest time to realize that I could be whatever I wanted.
Like I was assigned male at birth, and until literally like I think like almost exactly 2 years ago, actually, it was very uncomfortable. Like just generally, but most of that was because I wasn't exposed to any options outside of the binary, like cisgender binary, until way too late in my life. I don't know, it took a while.
And I can't, not only that, I can't not be what I am.
Yeah, there you go. I also just, I wanted to point out, because there's no way that you would know this, I very recently, like at the beginning of this whole quarantine thing, I chopped off all my hair. Just like before the salons and stuff shut down, I went and I got it cut off so that I could donate. I had like 2 feet of really great hair though that I wanted to donate. And oh boy, did I not think about how that was going to affect how I felt in my own skin.
Oh.
Like that was my one very obvious quote feminine trait. Like traditionally feminine trait was like my long hair. And I've always had this huge beard that I don't bother trimming at all. So it really was like the last, like, I didn't even know how to say that. I don't know. But basically like before this whole quarantine thing, I worked in a giant grocery store as a sample lady. That's not the official job title. It's just what I like to call it. But I would hand out samples and people would come up behind me all the time and be like, oh, one of my favorite stories is this small child like asked their grandma, hey, can we go and get a sample? And they were behind me and I could hear it. I wasn't looking at them. And the grandma goes, yeah, go and ask her what she has. And I was like, yes, I'm 6'5". If you call me a she, I'll be happy.
Hey.
Hi. My name's Willow. What's yours?
My name's Rich.
Hi, Rich. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Where are you currently?
Yeah, where am I currently? I'm in Dane County, Madison. I'm in my bedroom. And I won't say cockroach infested apartment, but I will say like cockroach occasionally visiting apartment.
That's funny.
How about you?
I am at home in my living room. I usually do Zooms in my basement game room, but I was running late, so I just plugged in where I could.
And are you in Madison?
Oh, I'm in Cedar Falls, Iowa.
Okay, very fine. So how has COVID and sort of this isolation been affecting your experience of gender?
Yeah. Uh, um, I haven't been able to. Well, okay. Since I'm home and not going anywhere, like I want to bind, but there's no point. Plus, some of the symptoms of COVID and stuff is trouble breathing, and binding and breathing stuff is kind of iffy anyway. So I just haven't, which is interesting. Like, I never bind when I'm at home, but the fact that I've been home so long and I haven't feels weird.
Yeah.
Plus, our living room has this big window that my dad likes to have it open sometimes, and I don't like. I don't know. I don't like the big window like seeing me. So I like to have a big coat or something on, something that's baggy.
Yeah.
But it's really hot. So I've like had to compromise. That'll only have it like sliver of the window open, and I feel like that's okay, I guess. How's isolation affected your gender stuff?
Yeah, it's been very strange. I've never been this isolated before. I have a compromised immune system, so I'm sort of on like super lockdown. I'm also working from home for a temp company that like doesn't care about me at all. So I'll go like my whole day not communicating with the people I'm working with, and it's not worth it at all to come out to all of these people and then try to teach them about they them pronouns and then be disappointed every time they fuck it up. So it just sort of feels fetal is the word I want to use. Just sort of existing in the shirt that I slept in and like my underwear like all day long, like on my laptop, has made me really uncomfortable in my gender expression, you know, like in a way that I couldn't have anticipated would have happened, you know, if I tried to look forward 3 or 4 months ago.
I identify as genderqueer, which is sort of similar to non-binary, and for me it's being simultaneously man, woman, and neither. And it sort of sounds like an oxymoron or a paradox, or being in sort of a limbo of gender, but it's sort of the easiest way to explain it because I feel them all equally strongly, which is interesting because neither is one of the things. But anyway, yeah, with isolation, I sort of feel the same because when you're not around other people, it's not that it matters less. I guess it's I don't spiral as much, sort of like they were talking about in the other conversation. And because I'm neurodivergent, I tend to spiral a lot anyway. So if maybe someone hasn't gendered me yet, I'm overthinking, am I presenting masculine enough to at least be defaulted to the better default?
Right.
My only social interaction right now is with Three House, this church hangout here in Cedar Falls. Actually, that's how I heard about this. Robin, who like runs fire theater or started it or something, let me know about it. Anyway, they're very proven that they don't mess up. Like, they've only ever known me as they them, so why would they mess up? But it's really interesting if like over Zoom or in person, if they're only using pronouns and I'm not sure who they're talking about, if she, her is even uttered, even if it's not about me, my ears perk up like, oh no, are they talking about me?
Right.
Or actually, so I used to have. Okay, so I used to have this Pokemon shirt with Pikachu on it. And when I first came out as genderqueer, before I had the binder or anything, I hated wearing that shirt. Not because it was particularly tight or anything, just because for some reason in my head, I got it that Pikachu was a very feminine Pokemon, which makes no sense. I don't know how I came to that conclusion. Like, it's Pokemon, they're all whatever. But in my head, it became like a very feminine Pokemon. But I really like Pokemon. So it became like, I want to wear this shirt, but I also don't, since it's going to make me look like a girl. I don't know. But yeah, I overthink really random stuff like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess for me, I don't think I deal with a ton of dysphoria. For me, it's just like all sorts of desires to wear different clothes and to try out different things. Okay, so here's an example. This is so funny. My friend and I, we like one day was like, I really want to cross dress a lot. Just like put on a suit or something. And I texted my friend and just like, do you want to play dress up with me? So I went over to her apartment and we like just tried on all these clothes and like she did my makeup and we like played around with my binder and just, had a good time. And it was so fun. But like, that's kind of what I mean. I seriously enjoy, and I always kind of get this desire to just like, I don't know, kind of have fun with how I present myself.
Hi, so I'm Orion. One of the things this time has been for me is being inside because I'm recovering from surgery, not just because there's like a global pandemic. I'm in my apartment in Madison, my brick apartment building, in the little sunroom on the side where the plants live, and the windows are everywhere, and it gets really hot, but it's also really bright and it's nice. The thing I relate to with that is like literal dress up as a kid and the freedom I felt to put on literally anything. Yeah. So like I'm organizing these conversations on gender and COVID, and I'm thinking about the social distancing experience, TM. For you, how does that intersect with the fun, if that's the right word, of like trying things out?
Okay, so I'm sad because I can't go to thrift stores or don't tell anyone, but sometimes I go to real stores and just try on clothes, but don't buy anything. So that's something I really miss actually. Just being able to be with friends and have fun doing that. But also there's like a freedom that I'm just in my own house and I can wear anything, like anything that's just what I'm wearing. And I don't have to impress anyone except my roommates.
Do you have to impress your roommates?
Oh no, I'm just kidding.
Because you'd have a lot of people to impress.
Do you feel like your gender is fun?
I have moments, absolutely. And post-op surgery, I've had some of them. But just like feeling my shirt pull across the top of my chest in a way it didn't used to. It's touching basically all of my skin, and it didn't used to do this. So before I had a fancy Zoom event where I went and got dressed up for it. So I put on this little like flower pattern tie, and that was fun. And then I realized I overdressed for the event, so I had to take off the tie and vest. But that experience is way more 1,000% fun than gender ever was back when I was doing the femininity thing. Leaning into this masculine expression, air quotes, has been way more fun.
What was it like, if you don't want to answer this, no need to, but what was it like after top surgery? Like, how did you feel?
In terms of what?
Emotionally, I guess.
At first I felt nothing, which was kind of a hard thing to feel because like, God damn it, I worked for this for so long. And it's like, there's incisions in my chest and I'm post surgery and there's real things about what that means for my body. And like, discomfort, exhaustion, pain. That wasn't a great feeling. And then once physically I had a little more energy and a little healing there, my emotions just kind of bottomed out for a while. And it was a rough time in terms of mental health for a couple weeks there. And then therapy, working on it, telling myself it's a process. Now I'm starting to get to this emotional place of like excitement and happiness.
So how's it like living with other people during this? Like, are your roommates good about gender stuff?
Yeah, my roommates are great.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I have at least 7 roommates. Well, housemates, I should say, because we're not all in the same room, thank God.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're really awesome about it. A couple of them are trans or non-binary, which is cool. Many of them are queer, which is also cool.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's a great little bubble. I really like it.
That's nice. Yeah. I mean, upsides of living alone, I don't have to deal with anyone misgendering me. Downsides, I don't have anyone to just like share community with.
Yeah, I had several friends who I was like gonna go see.
Mm-hmm.
Go up to Portland or something.
Ooh,
Get up for a few days.
yeah,
But yeah, that's not happening.
yeah.
But it's okay. He's saving money.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely.
Not really.
I think it's so funny to look at what gender means after questioning it for so long, because I've gone through so many phases of like gender is a curse, and I'm trying to like reorient. Because I had a friend who was like, gender can be a gift if you see it as something that you can experiment or something that you can like, that's fluid, that you don't have to take on the thing you were assigned at birth, that it's an optional thing, like something that you can manipulate or like use to your advantage instead. So I'm trying to reframe that, but right now in quarantine, I gotta say gender feels kind of like a curse to me.
Yeah, there was this cool quote. So I'm religious, and there's always like the argument that you're going against God's will, like God made you this way, do it that way. But there's this cool quote about how it's actually a gift and you're helping God in creation, which I was like really cool.
Oh.
Yeah, but yeah, in quarantine I definitely get like that vibe of like this just sucks. Do you have a lot of trouble right now? I mean, you said it was a curse, but like, do you have any specifics?
Yeah, totally. I'm living with my family right now, and I only like recently came out as like genderqueer to them, and there was this TikTok that recently I found that was like, oh, I'm going downstairs to the kitchen to get misgendered. That resonated so hard because I just feel like coming out to my family was harder because now there's an expectation that they should know or they could respect me or love me in this way of like acknowledging who I am, and they just like fail constantly. And it's so hard to have gone from like my space on my campus of like having been acknowledged for who I was and having people who asked about my pronouns and got my pronouns right and checked in about my experience of gender a lot. And people have just created so much space for it to come into a place where I feel like I'm constantly explaining everything, and it's just so much emotional work. And I realized the other day that I won't leave my room because I'm afraid of having my day hurt by getting misgendered when I go downstairs or interacting with people and knowing the interaction could go awry. And I think for me, so much of gender is being affirmed by the people around me. And I think that being in a space where I'm not affirmed is kind of like almost like gaslighting myself or making me question my sense of reality, where it's like I don't have anyone that sees me the way I see myself or sees me for who I am, and it's confusing. There's a sense of like invisibility to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. My family like uses my name. Well, kind of. They call me R a lot, so it's like a compromised nickname, which is fine, but also that's not my name. I don't know what's so hard about Rich. And like, they tend to use my pronouns, but a lot of my identity just flies over their heads. They're like, sure, I understand what this is about.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. And then in society, so my sister's friend is over for the weekend. So we went to the store to get more stuff since she's here. And in the same shop, I was she'd at one end of the store and he'd at the other end of the store. I was wearing the exact same thing though. So it's sort of a mind trip about what's the thing that's happening right now.
I have like a beanie with like a pin on it, and you're like, come on.
Yeah. Like I always have a flat bill or a baseball cap, and I have my pin. They them, clear as day, and I don't like. How do you not see it?
How do you feel when that like happens to you when you're in like a store or something? Like, do you like that? Do you not like that? Like,
I hate she, just because it's AGAB, assigned gender at birth, and that's just uncomfortable. He is also incorrect, but I can kind of live with it more. Like, I'm pretty resigned to the fact that they them isn't used all the time. It's annoying and it sucks, but I'm used to it. So I'd much rather he. But yeah, it's very strange getting two different ones in like the same location when I'm wearing like the same thing. How has Corona and things other than family, have you been able to go out much? Have you interacted with other people to sort of get more support?
I mean, no.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I appreciate the question. For me, like I kind of I'm in Dane County outside of Madison, and the people I've been spending more time with are like old friends from high school and from home, and I have good friends there and people I've known for a long time at least, but a lot of my friends, the people I knew in the circles I ran in college, are like queer people and people who are from the LGBTQIA plus community. And my friends from back home aren't as much. And I think there was so much assumption in me that they would understand just because of their age group or because of like our friendship. I don't know, that they would like get my identities and be there for me. And I think that they want to be there for me, but they just got so ingrained seeing me a certain way that they struggle to kind of understand how much this community is part of my identity now. And I think they struggle to kind of just, they don't have as much interest in like educating themselves on this stuff. So I don't know, they're just not as there for me as I kind of wish they were. And they don't know as much as I wish they did, and they struggle to get my pronouns right too. So I think it's kind of like a switch where I thought, oh, if my family doesn't get it, my friends will, and like they haven't. So I don't know.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
But it was really nice to talk to you.
Yeah, you too. Thanks so much. Good luck with quarantine.
You too. Hopefully the curse isn't too much longer.
Yeah, so I call myself non-binary. I guess I love finally having a word, a name, a community for what I feel, and being sort of really solid in that. And I feel like, you know, through my life, I've always been sort of searching and like trying on different labels. And, you know, when I found like pansexual and queer and non-binary, I was like, oh, right, this is my thing, you know, sort of like a book sliding really perfectly into its slot, like in a little library. And in the past, when I've been sort of, I think I make more sense to myself when I exist in relation to other people and other things and other activities. And if you asked Willow, you know, 6 months ago what their gender was and what non-binary was, they probably would have had a different answer. And right now, just sort of feels like a bottle of fizz that someone left the cap off and all the fizz is out. And like, I just sort of don't have an opinion right now, which is really unusual for me.
But like, I'd love to just go walk there to Kings and Queens, like hang out, have a drink, meet some fun people, but I do not want to risk that.
Yeah, I totally get it. I do drag there.
Yeah,
And like it's opened back up and they're doing drag shows.
I know, I've seen that, and it gives me anxiety.
So much anxiety, so much.
I mean, I get it because it's also a small business,
Mhm.
and I'm sure like paycheck protection has run out for them, and they kind of need to open up, like at least to have the capacity to keep things afloat. But at the same time, super dangerous, especially because Iowa is not handling the COVID situation well at all.
Exactly, especially Black Hawk County.
Right? It's one of the ones with one of the Tyson plants. So like,
And so like it's like so frustrating because it's like they're tempting me. They're like the devil and they're like, come and do drag. You know you want to. And I'm like, I do.
I would love to be with my community so bad. However, I'm gonna stay in my house against my better judgment for once.
Oh man. It's so tough. It's like I'm friends with all the drag queens.
Right.
And so like they're there and I'm like, please stop. Please stop.
Yeah. Yeah. At least it's been nice, like having this amount of downtime to work on processing my multiple feelings around top surgery, mourning the fact that I'm getting rid of a part of my body that has been with me for a decade.
Oh yeah, it's a lot to work through. I have such a weird relationship with my chest because like it used to be one way, but then the depot shot. And
What is a depot shot if you're
oh,
okay with it?
the depot shot is birth control.
Okay.
Yeah. And so like now I'm on the next one on, which is the implant.
The implant, right?
And so like yeah, depot is a shot. And like my chest is great for when I'm trying to present more femme, but it makes it vastly harder when I'm trying to do a more mask look. But like, it's difficult because I love my boobies. Like I love to grab them and like, but also like sometimes I'm looking in the mirror and it's like, this is not it.
Yeah. Like some days I'm like, yes, and some days I'm like, please no. So I understand having to navigate that. Let me ask you this, because we both identify as non-binary. What does non-binary mean for you?
So okay, so all right. In high school, the plan was for me to transition to male. But then I went through some stuff and then I was just like, that was just not it anymore. But like, I'm still not a girl. And so I think I was on Tumblr and I saw non-binary and I was like, what is that? So I did some research on it and I was just like, bingo bongo. Yeah, I'm not a girl, and calling me a girl makes me vastly uncomfortable. And if I hadn't gone through what I had gone through and I still was the person that I used to be then I would have transitioned to male. But I'm not that person and I'm not a guy.
Right.
And so like, I don't know. I struggle with the idea of nothing, but like, I also struggle with the idea of everything. And it's just so, I just feel like, I don't know. When I think about non-binary, I just think off of the binary. I don't know what that is.
Right. And not like in the center, not like a third gender necessarily, just like
this is the line, and here's the beginning, here's the middle, here's the end. And I'm just like, hey guys, how's that line?
floating out in space.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like a lot of that resonates with me. Like being raised female, being called girl was something that has always been a thing. And also being a fan of drag, and within queer culture, everyone calls each other girl. And I'm like, only certain people can do that. Like I've been calling myself that, just like, girl, check yourself, but that's okay because I could do that to myself. Other people can't. But I also, like kind of like Orion, the identity of man just has never resonated with me. Like regardless of how mannish I look, it just does not. That is not a term that fits for me. Non-binary is the best descriptor I could give. Like knowing that I do experience gender, like I experience the feeling of gender. It's just not one of these two well-known categories. And I can't quite pinpoint where it is because sometimes my gender expression, like I feel more feminine sometimes, and sometimes I feel like super masculine. Sometimes, well, actually most of the times, I feel a lot of nothing just because I'm in my house and not around people. And so it doesn't really matter what gender I feel and am experiencing, because a lot of my gender, as has been kind of discussed, is performative. And so like I won't really put on clothes for myself. I put my nice clothes on for people, for other people, when I want to feel good, because like that's how they're going to perceive me. So if I don't put my best on, they're not going to perceive me as I want.
Yeah, and like, we have a few minutes left, but like, I love fashion, and I still like looking like perceived more mask, because like a lot of androgynous looks are just like more masculine. And it's like, I feel like if I looked more masculine when I did more feminine stuff, it would like flow better. I don't know.
Yeah.
And so like some days I wake up and I'm just like, yeah, like titty tank top. And other days I wake up and I'm like, what can I do to make it look like this never happened? And it's like, gender doesn't come up when me and my fiance are spending time together. He's not talking to other people about me, so he doesn't have to say they. He just says you. And so it's just like, I need to hear it.
Yeah. And so it's just different trying to find how to get that validation when you're in your usual space. Yeah. Well, we should probably wrap this up, but it was lovely to talk to you again.
Yeah.
I'm gonna find where you live, not to be creepy.
Find me. If you find the giant sunflowers, you found the right place.
I'll start walking around.